All right, so it's the middle of December, we're in the winter market, you've been thinking about listing your home, you're getting ready to list your home. How do you make sure that you sell your home by making it stand out above the rest of the competition? Stick around, we're gonna get into that today. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your realtor, Nick Isgro with eXp Realty here in the state of Maine. As you know, on this channel, we cover all things real estate here in the state of Maine, particularly in the central Maine market. So even though there's no snow on the ground right now outside my window like there was in last week's video, today we're gonna dig in kind of the nuts and bolts of how to make your home stand out above the other competition in the winter market. Now, the winter market is a little bit slower, but don't be fooled or lulled into complacency that that lack of competition is going to allow you to just let your home go. There's still a lot of ways, and today we're going to cover my top 10 ways in which you can make your home stand out above the rest. Now, some of these are going to be obvious to you, some of them not so much, so pay attention to each one of these as we go through so you can have your home ready to hit this winter market and get it sold and be on your way. Now I'm gonna jump right in here. The first and most obvious way to make your home stand out above the rest when it comes to selling your home in the winter market is going to be staging it appropriately for the winter. Now remember, staging is a way that you can create a lot of those warm and cozy vibes so that the people coming into your home are gonna be able to picture themselves living there. They wanna be able to see themselves cozying up in front of the fireplace or sitting on a couch with a warm cup of coffee or hot cocoa and looking outside at the cold weather without and feeling that warmth within. So how you stage your home should be totally appropriate. Use some throw blankets. If you're using scents, make sure it's kind of like, you know, a light winter spice, maybe an apple cider type of thing. Don't go totally overboard on this stuff because your windows are closed. Feel free to do things like leave a kettle on the stove with a little hot cider in it, or use blankets and throw pillows that inspire a sense of the season. If you have a coat rack, set that up on their way in so they can hang their coats and walk in and really envision themselves in the space, in this season. Put away your out of season items and get it ready for that, again, warm, cozy vibe that can be really easily created with just a little bit of ingenuity and thoughtful process. Another way to make your home stand out in the winter market amongst the other competition, both when you're taking photos as well as when you're doing showings, is you have to make appropriate use of light. Remember, particularly in a state like Maine, selling your home is going to come with a little bit more challenges in the winter market simply because you're going to deal with a lot less lighting and natural light that you do in the rest of the year. So, open the curtains, open the blinds, do whatever you can to let as much natural light into the home as possible. I can tell you there's nothing worse than when you walk into a home and there's a million layers of curtains and shades and the place just looks pitch black. It's already gonna feel a little bit more denned in the winter time. You want the people that walk into your home to have that experience of openness and seeing that light so they can really get a good eye on the space. It's always going to look better with as much light as possible. Now for those gray days or the evenings, feel free to throw in a little ambient lighting. Things like flameless candles or little corner lamps that you can use are all gonna add to that experience of giving that kind of warm, cozy vibe throughout the house and making it also feel a little bit more well lit as people are walking through so it doesn't feel dark and smaller. Remember, the more light that you have in the space, the bigger the space is going to feel. That's an important point. All right, guys, this next tip for selling your home in a winter market is definitely a pet peeve of mine. I can promise you it's going to be a pet peeve for the people who are looking at your house as well. It's going to be impossible to give off that warm and cozy feel in your home if it's like 59 or 60 degrees when people walk in. The temperature inside should not match the temperature outside. That means leaving the heat on, so when people walk in, it's going to feel warm and comfortable. They're going to be happy to escape the chilly air outside and really know what it feels like to walk into that shelter from the storm. Snowflakes are swirling outside and they're warm and cozy inside. Give them that feel on the front end. Quick tip, if you have a fireplace, get that thing lit if you can before they come. Nothing is going to not give off a little bit more warmth, but also add to the ambiance as that fireplace lit and going. If you have a wood stove, same thing. Make it cozy, keep the heat on. Don't make it so that they walk through your house freezing and can't wait to get out and back into their car. All right, guys, the fourth thing that you can do in order to make your home ready to sell into winter is
clean everything.
As you know, regardless of what season you sell your home in, you want to have a clean environment. But the reality is, in winter, everybody's inside a whole lot more than they are in the summertime. You don't have windows open, you have harsher lighting, which can make things look dirtier. So really get around. Look at your ceiling fans, look in the corners for the cobwebs. Every surface that you can think of with dust on it, or grime, or cobwebs, get it deep cleaned. This goes for all the little stuff you might not think about in the summertime too. Baseboards, furnace rooms, air vents, all of this stuff, shower heads, scrub that thing till it shines. Get everything nice and crisp and clean. It's gonna show a lot better than a lot of other houses, because people don't realize in the winter, it just shows a little bit harsher and everybody's in the house creating a little bit more mess. If you can curtail that, you're gonna be one step ahead of the competition. Number 5 is a great little tip that most people aren't gonna think about. This does often work better if you've been planning on selling your house, but even if not, I'm sure you could dig something out. Show what your house looks like in other seasons. People are coming into your home in the winter. They're not gonna get the full view of what it feels like in the summertime. The grounds, whatever gardens you have, that green lawn. Show photos in picture frames, you can place them around the house, of what your home looks like in other seasons. And that goes particularly if you have some of those other features. If you have nice landscaping you want to show off, if you have gardens you want to show off, if you have a nice green lawn that looks like turf, show it off. Those kinds of things are going to give that person a nice visual, so that in the back of their mind, they're not wondering what's underneath all that snow out there, or what's underneath that kind of brown, crispy layer that they see. If there is no snow, they're going to know what it looks like in the summer, and they really might be wowed by what they see. So if you have those photos of what your home looks like in the spring, summer, maybe even fall, if it looks real pretty and you have some nice photos with that nice fall foliage, get them out, put them in a frame, stick them around the house in random places. People are going to see them, they will pick up on that, and those buyers are going to like that. Moving on to the number 6 thing you can do when you're preparing to sell your home in the winter market: pay attention to curb appeal. Look, in the summertime, it's really easy. You keep the lawn mowed, you can rely on kind of those lush green gardens and walkways to bring people in. You're not going to have that advantage in the winter. So what do I mean? I mean, just really keep the property well maintained and appealing to the eye, even though it's cold in winter. Keep all of the walkways shoveled and salted. Get things out of the way. Get your old seasonal garden tools and rakes, those things out of the way. If there's leaves on the ground, get them raked up, get them out of there. And for a nice finishing touch, maybe consider some nice winter planters. You can put some evergreen boughs, you can do a lot of things, but put some nice winter-themed planters on the front steps. It's going to make a difference, and it's going to make you stand out against people who just have unfinished walkways and snowbanks. All right, this next step to preparing your home for a sale in the winter market is very similar to one I gave when it was the fall and it was Halloween, and that is keep the seasonal decor to a bare minimum. Yes, totally okay. I understand we're headed towards Christmas, and actually having a nice tasteful tree and Christmas decorations are going to be able to make your house have that nice warm and cozy appeal. But when Christmas is over, get some of that stuff away, and by all means, please avoid having your front lawn riddled with huge blow-up Santas and reindeer and Grinches and all of those things, because they're not coming to an amusement park, guys. They're coming to their future home, and they want to see this thing really sparkle. And when I say sparkle, I don't mean by a lot of artificial lights and blowers. And the reality is, guys, you don't want to cover up any of the beautiful aesthetics of the home. Yes, covering your railing in pine boughs looks beautiful, but if you go overboard, they're not going to see that fine wooden craftsmanship that's underneath. At the end of the day, you want to avoid anything that's going to become a distraction from the structural aesthetic of your home, and you really want to avoid putting anything out there that a potential buyer may not want to see in the home. And that's why I say, look, if it's the holidays you're celebrating, that's great. Keep it simple, keep it tasteful. That's all I'm saying. You'll be just fine. Moving on to the 8th step in preparing your home for sale in the winter: be more flexible with showing. In the wintertime, you're just going to have to be more flexible with showings than you are in the summertime. Agents have a lot of reasons why they can or can't show your home. It could be freezing rain, could be a blizzard outside, so there's already cooked into the winter months sometimes some preventatives in them being able to get to your home. There's also limited daylight hours. A lot of people may want to view your home during the daytime. Now, that doesn't mean you have to drop everything and let people in at any time. By all means, if you're having a family gathering, if it's the holidays, let your listing agent know which days and times to block out. They will put that on the calendar so that other agents simply don't have those times available in order to schedule the showing. That said, while there is less inventory on the market in the middle of winter, there's also less buyers in the market in the middle of winter. But the buyers that are out there are motivated and hungry. They're ready to buy a house. By all means, try to be more flexible than maybe you would be in another season in order to get the showings done. If you're not flexible with multiple showings or moving showings around because of snowstorms and things like that, you just might have a more long and drawn out selling experience, which is what we're trying to avoid here. Now, the ninth step in preparing your home to sell in the winter should really just be common sense, but I promise you, it's really not when you go out there and you're looking at homes in the winter. I can tell you this as an agent who's out showing homes in the winter. Keep your pathways, driveways, decks shoveled, sanded, salted, whatever it takes. You want to be the seller that ensures that buyers have access to outbuildings, sheds, garages, things like that. You don't want them having to trudge through the snow, slipping and falling. If you have a deck, you want them to be able to still walk out on the deck and envision what that view is like from outdoors of where they might be wanting to go out and sit and have that cup of coffee come springtime. Give them the full experience. A lot of people aren't going to do this. Make sure that everywhere they need to get to, they can get to, and they can get to it safely. The last step in preparing your home for sale in the winter is stuff you're probably and hopefully already doing anyway, and that's just keep up with the seasonal maintenance. As you know, in the colder climates, there's already a lot of things we have to do in order to make sure our homes are prepared for the winter time. It's no different when you're selling. Get your furnace or HVAC system cleaned and ready to go so it's working properly and you don't have to worry about any malfunctions, and the people looking at it don't have to worry, is there going to be a malfunction? Get your chimney inspection done. Get any caulking or sealing done so you avoid any cold drafts when people walk in your home, because they're certainly going to feel it in the winter months. Potentially clear the gutters to make sure that those are functioning properly and you're not building up massive ice dams. Okay guys, so those are my top 10 tips in order to prepare your home for sale in the winter market. None of these are incredibly hard, but each and every one of them individually, and particularly if you put them all together, are gonna make sure that when you sell your home this winter, you are the most prepared and going to stand out above a lot of the other competition that frankly could just look mediocre compared to yours if you get it all done and ready to go. You want your home to show above all of the other homes that are out there so you can have a quicker sale. Remember, the buyers are there, the buyers are motivated. You just want to make sure that when they're looking at your house, it feels so much nicer and well prepared in a place that they can envision themselves moving into right away. Now, as always, guys, I want to thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. If you are in the current market, if you've been selling a home, or if you're thinking about selling a home and you're having this process right now, please feel free to go ahead and drop a comment below. Also, if you have any other favorite tips that you want to share for things that might help make my clients' homes stand out in the wintertime, share those too. I love to pass on that knowledge. Remember, we're all in this here together, guys. That's why we're doing this. So go ahead and leave a comment, and until next week, I will see you next time.